I just want to say a word about the Saudi-Wahhabi and the Saudi-Iran issue. Yes, the alliance between the Wahhabi faith, no Saudi calls it the Wahhabi faith, they call it Islam, and the House of Saud dates back to 1744. It is the fundamental bedrock upon which this relationship exists. And we shouldn't expect that Saudis' theological beliefs are going to change in the future. They are not going to see Shias as an acceptable part of the Islamic community because they don't believe in the fundamental argument that lies at the core of Wahhabi beliefs, which is the oneness of God and a relationship with the oneness of God. But we don't need to engage in a theological debate with the Saudis. Saudi Arabia has in the past, on many occasions, had a relatively muted, hostile relationship with Iran. That is to say, there are large periods of time since the Iranian Revolution in which Saudi Arabia and Iran had normal diplomatic relations. They engaged in high-level conversations. The period we're seeing now is, in fact, a break from the past. I'm not saying that they ever loved each other. They've never loved each other. That's pretty clear. We know that from an awful lot of material. But King Abdullah, for example, tried very hard after the Khobar attacks in 1995 to avoid the conflict coming to an open war between Saudi Arabia and the US on one hand and Iran on the other. What we're seeing today is largely the result of the change in leadership in Saudi Arabia that occurred a year ago when King Salman ascended to the throne and then removed Crown Prince Mukrin and moved Prince Mohammed bin Nayef up into the Crown Prince job, and most importantly, moved his son into the Deputy Crown Prince job. The war in Yemen is the son's war. He is the instigator of this war. He is the person who pushed Saudi Arabia into this war. You don't have to take my word for it. Many of the Arab and Muslim allies fighting with Saudi Arabia in this war all say that Mohammed bin Salman is the architect of this war. Mohammed bin Salman may be the next king of Saudi Arabia. There's a very good chance he will. And the United States should have a relationship with him. But we should also have a relationship in which we are prepared to say to our friends, don't drive drunk. And what Saudi Arabia has been doing for the last year in Yemen is effectively driving drunk. It's time for the United States to get out of the back seat and tell the Saudis, let's find a way to end this war, which is in our mutual interest. If the problem is Iranian presence in Yemen, we don't have to bomb Yemeni cities for more than a year to resolve that problem. We can come up with a formula to ensure that Iranian military assistance does not go to the Houthis or President Saleh or anyone else. That's a relatively easy and doable thing to do. I hope the President and the King will focus on that today.